And now, it's time for Healing from Within with your host, Tony Valen.
Welcome to Healing from Within. I'm your host, Tony Valen. You can contact me, Tony at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter, at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen or look for the Tony Valen channel. Let's check in with one of our previous guests.
Hi, this is Colby from Enchanted Earth on behalf of Healing from Within with Tony Valen on Blog Talk Radio. To learn more about Enchanted Earth, go to EnchantedEarthDunedin.com. Dunedin is spelled D-U-N-E-D-I-N. Our store is located at 733 Main Street in Dunedin, Florida, just east of historical downtown. Enchanted Earth is a store for you, so come by and sit for a spell. We are open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, noon until 8 p.m., and Sunday, noon until 6 p.m. We are your one-stop shop for all your magical and mystical needs. For those looking for more spiritual insight, help with life direction, or alternative healing, we have a house full of talented readers and healers. You can go to our website for more information or contact us at 727-216-6594. Every first full weekend of the month, we have our Psychic Fair weekend. Our hours for the fair are noon till 8 on both Saturday and Sunday. So make your appointments today. Walk-ins, of course, are always available. For you out-of-towners, our spiritual advisors are available for phone readings. You can contact us at 727-216-6594. To learn more about our readers and healers that include palmist, tarot and oracle cards, tea leaf readings, past life regressions, animal medicine, shamanic, Reiki, Akashic records, lithomancy, and even licensed hypnotherapists, we have so much more in store for you. Go to EnchantedEarthDunedin.com or call our store at 727-216-6594. Enchanted Earth offers several workshops and events throughout the month. Whether you're interested in group workshops or maybe one-on-one, we have an offer of wide variety. Want to circle up under the full moon? We offer open public full moon rituals and Sabbats. We have clearing and activation with Allison throughout the month. Check our website for more information. Drum circles hosted by Jamie every first and third Wednesday of the month. Make sure to visit EnchantedEarthDunedin.com and sign our guest book to receive our monthly newsletter with a full description of all of our workshops and events. Want tutoring specifically attuned to your interest? Our educators are available for one-on-one tutoring. 30-minute and 60-minute sessions are available. Like us on Facebook at Enchanted Earth. Postings every day on the goings-on and Enchanted Earth can be found on our Facebook page. You can also find our daily specials and deals on Facebook. Our psychics offer daily universal readings, which have become quite popular. Come up in the near future, we look forward to having Witchcraft 101 with Navi and The Wonderful World of Crystals with Colby, two of our house favorite workshops. We are the premier spot for the best selection in crystals, cards, candles, books, and magical tools, and a full herb room and apothecary. Speaking of making your visit a little longer, we also offer tasty drinks, sodas, teas, and coffees. There's even a rumor that one of the Tampa Bay's best baristas is an in-house spiritual counselor. Enchanted Earth truly is where the locals go. This little house on 733 Main Street, Dunedin is the real deal. It's like stepping into an old world, brick and mortar spiritual oasis, tucked into our little corner of the world. For all you witches and wizards, fairies and sprites, even for those just a little curious, we have something for you. So stop wasting your time going to 5 different shops to find your cauldron filled with all your goodies. Stop in today at Enchanted Earth at 733 Main Street, Dunedin. Visit our website at enchantederthdunedin.com, and don't forget to like us on Facebook. For any other comments, questions, or concerns, please contact us at 727-216-6594. Many blessings to you all. Hope to see you soon. Once again, this is Colby from Enchanted Earth in Dunedin, Florida, on behalf of Healing from Within with Tony Valen on Block Talk Radio, airing Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central.
Joining us on today's show is Joe Merlin. Joe is an intuitive empath, spiritual counselor, a tarot and oracle card reader, animal medicine, and a shaman. You can learn more about Joe by going to EnchantedEarthDunedin.com. Enchanted Earth is located at 733 Main Street, Dunedin. Phone number 727-216-6594. Like Enchanted Earth on Facebook and follow Enchanted Earth on Twitter. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony.
So let's go ahead and get started. The first question I always ask my guests is, what are your gifts and how did your journey begin?
My gifts are that I have a weird affinity for animals, and I have always been able to handle exotic snakes and not be bitten. I've always been able to play with spiders, interact with even common pets, dogs and cats that people drive them nuts and they lash out and they're aggressive. But for me, I don't know. It's always just been something that is very soothing and calming. I've always trusted animals more than I've put faith in people. Animals just have things that they want us to know and things that they want to tell us, but they don't understand if it's good or if it's bad or if it's going to hurt our feelings. People, they kind of sugarcoat things. So animals always have the direction for me of what I need to do and where I need to go without understanding if they're going to hurt my feelings, because sometimes what you have to hear is not something you want to hear, but to get you through what you're in, you have to hear it or you have to understand it.
Right. And you know, I truly believe in that, and I think that's authentic. And I think that sometimes when, like for instance, our pets, our animals, they are innocent, and like you said, they don't know good or bad. They just tell it like it is, and I pretty much live that type of life, and maybe that's why I have an attachment to animals as well. And actually, when I do readings, that's what I do too. I don't sugarcoat it. I just tell it like it is.
Unfortunately, it makes for, when you do have those outlooks towards people, I've been referred to as just a really dirty mirror, because I show them the reflection of themselves that they don't normally want to see. We try to polish ourselves up the best that we can to fit into society or what society deems us as being acceptable. But we, as readers, are there to bring out some of the other things in their lives or situations that are going on, and sometimes it's not always what we want to hear.
That is very true. Would you call yourself a animal psychic or a pet psychic?
Animal psychic and pet psychics, it just sounds funny to me. I've always laughed when people ask me those questions. Some animals give you thoughts and feelings and emotions when you come across them. Some animals, you can actually, it seems like it's a full-blown human being or a person having a conversation with words and emotion. For me, it's just a conversation between myself and another living being. I don't deem them as animals or something separate. We're all equals along this planet, so everything should be treated equally.
That's a very beautiful way of saying it. You're an oracle and tarot card reader. Tell us about those cards and what the difference is.
Oracle cards are cards that already have predetermined messages or sayings on them. I use them for when I sit down with clients for the very first time. Some of them, they don't open up as easily, or they have a hard time. Maybe they've been brought in with a group of friends and they're skeptical about what's happening. So I just use the oracle cards because it already has a predetermined message on them, and they're not as off-putting, I guess, as some people would think tarot cards are. So it gives them charming messages, or it gives them soothing pictures or images to help ease them into maybe what we actually are there to talk about. It also helps break down some barriers or skepticism for them because they get an understanding of what I'm looking at and how I see things to what it portrays to in their life.
And what about the tarot cards?
Tarot cards are very much more direct forward messages. You ask a direct question, you can receive a direct answer. Tarot cards are also there to break down timelines and to ask questions to if it pertains to you or somebody else in your home or in your family. So it's a lot more direct than the indirect oracle card.
When you connect with spirit, how do you do it?
That is a long and soulful journey. It started back when I was little, and the Vietnamese family moved in across the street from me, and I befriended their son, and we've been friends now for 30 years. They taught me the Buddhist culture in my life, and I had a very difficult time with religious practices here because of being a child, you ask questions. So it made me want to ask questions. And following Buddhism, the whole religious practice is to ask questions. And they want you to ask as many questions as you possibly can until you figure it out on your own way. So being open as a child, it just keeps me always open because you never know when something's going to come or something's going to happen. And again, spirit is the same thing as a living person. It should be treated with the same respect and the same utmost admirations. So if you shut down to them, for me, is following a Buddhist culture. It doesn't show respect to them. Why shouldn't I always be open to a conversation with who they are or what they have to bring to me? So I just try to stay open as much as I possibly can and deal with information as it comes to me.
And you already mentioned the Buddhist. So can you tell us what a practicing Buddhist philosophy is?
I am, in all intents and purposes, a bad Buddhist. I don't go to temple as much as I should, but Buddhism is a lifestyle. In modern-day society, they deem it a religion, but it's the following of one person that just wanted to achieve, for us, as I guess we would be considered common people or everyday people, or lay people, we strive for greatness, and Buddha just strive to live and live every day and live in the moment. So for the Buddhist practice of myself is to figure out where I find my wants and needs and how those hinder me or how those hold me back from what I actually really truly need in my life. So I try to live more in the now moment instead of trying to plan for the future, which for the future, we never know if we'll ever get there. So we can only live in this moment and we can only live in this breath and hope for the next breath to come to us.
How do you think Buddhism can help someone?
Buddhism gives you or will help you with perspective. I have suffered from depression for a long part of my life. Basically, I still consider myself a kid. I mean, I'm a 36-year-old gentleman, but it's been something that's been following me in the background of my whole entire life. Buddhism gives you perspective into what is going on in your life. It shows you the things that, again, it's a dirty mirror. It shows you the things you want to see. It shows you the things that you don't want to see. But it's an emotional journey into yourself to see what makes you tick. What are your wants? What are your needs? But in amongst your needs, do you really need those things to survive? And it makes you start to minimalize the things that are actually in your life. So you can kind of figure out what is your stress causers and what you can actually live without. So you can start to live in this moment and enjoy the things in this moment and not worry about the things that haven't even happened yet.
Right. And for the listeners that may not know, I mean, I'm sure that we all know the word Buddha and we look at pictures of Buddha, but can you tell us who Buddha really is?
Buddha is a humble person, and it is just an individual that has reached pure enlightenment or nirvana. It is a person that has been able to shed their skin, and they have been able to shed the strife and the worries in their life to be able to gain focus and perspective of the things that they truly need and in the direction that they are going. and it makes for a higher, very conscious, self-aware person. The story that resonates the most with me is that Buddha was such a beautiful and lovely person that wanted to bring happiness and joy to everyone that came into their path, that as he walked across his journey across this earth, that flowers would bloom in miles around him, and that is how the townspeople knew that Buddha was approaching their town, is that the flowers would bloom even out of season, because that was the gift of the flower to Buddha to show them that thank you for joining us in your presence.
Wow. Can you tell us about the Four Noble Truths?
The Four Noble Truths, there's the direct way, which makes it difficult to understand. But the indirect way to understand the Four Noble Truths are basically there's three noble truths that can show you your causes of stress or suffering in amongst yourself in your daily life. And then the fourth noble truth gives you the eightfold path that leads you to helping understand what is going on and help you to overcome the stresses and suffering that you bring upon yourself in your daily life. The sufferings can be for normal pain and fear and mental distress in your life. It can be fear of change. Fear is a very constricting thing in our life, and it leads a lot of people into depression and then into pharmaceuticals. And pharmaceuticals, for me, it strapped my brain. There's not much that, if any of the pharmaceuticals that you take to alleviate stress doesn't help you, it hinders you and puts a lot of blocks on you. So I turned towards Buddhism to try to help me out and figure out where my pain was and where my sufferings were. And mine was all in a perspective of where I was at. And my perspective is that I put money above everything else. And I killed myself trying to make as much as I could to provide for the ones that were around me instead of actually looking at myself. So that was one of my main causes of suffering. And it's the number one thing of the Noble Truths is worry about yourself and don't worry about everything else that you have no control over.
So how do you follow like the first truth without feeling egotistical, or you know what I mean?
You're not going around talking about yourself in third person and putting yourself above everybody else. You're living your means because at the end of the day, you're the person that's taking care of yourself. Yes, some of us do need assistance and some of us do need help in our daily lives because of physical ailments or because of impairments. But for the most part, we all take care of ourselves and we lean on ourselves. So there's no way to feel egotistical about yourself as if you are the one that is solely providing or doing most of the manual labor or the labor just in itself. You're the one that's breathing. You're the one that's making your heart work. So you're taking care of all the lifeblood that you need in amongst yourself. The practice of Buddhism that I use now the most, part of the Eightfold Path, and it helps me with my depression, it helps me with my attachment issues, it helps me with anger, and it helps me with some of my ignorance of that I can't fix the wrongs in others. I can only try to help them or lead them on the path that I'm on, or show them the map or give them a compass to help them find their way. So I use meditation for myself to help set myself back to center or bring myself back to center. So out of Buddhism, lifestyle and meditation are the things that I use the most. So that's why I say that I am a bad Buddhist, because I don't practice all of the other things that go along with Buddhism.
Well, it's okay because I still think that you take what you need and you help others, and I think that's wonderful. I know that there's some catchphrases out there that probably come from Buddhism and other religions, but can you tell everyone in your own words and your own thoughts what karma is?
Karma revolves in every religion. It is an energy that of what you put out, you'll receive back. Karma revolves in every energy. It just goes by different words. And so do unto others as you would do unto yourself. So if you want everybody to walk around and be a better person, maybe look at yourself and see what you're doing to yourself and make yourself a better person, and then go out and then conquer the world and start to make those people better, or start to help people, because not everybody needs money. Some people just need an ear to listen or a shoulder to cry on, or sometimes they just need a hug. So there's so many different things that you can do for people that don't have to be revolved around money. You don't always have to throw money at a problem to make it better. So in amongst karma, just put out there the best you that you can be, and you will receive back the most rewards that you could possibly imagine.
Yeah, and I know that Buddhism also teaches wisdom should be developed with compassion. How do you feel about that?
Everything should be done with compassion. If you don't do it with compassion, then that leads to going back to the suffering, is because you are going to try to force something that can't happen, or you're going to put some kind of constraint on it. If you go into it with compassion and love, you'll do it for a different purpose, and you'll do it as not a goal orientation. You'll do it because it's something that you love.
What does compassion mean to you, and how do you exercise compassion?
Compassion, it is how I treat every person that comes into my life. And it was a challenge that was put upon from my grandfather. He told me that maybe my depression was because I was thinking of myself too much, and I needed to think of others before myself. So no matter what I did or who I met, whether it be for 5 seconds or 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days, I had to make their life better some way, somehow. So I tried to look at that person and see maybe what they need. Maybe they need a hug that day. Maybe they just need a cup of coffee and just sit down and talk about what's going on or what's happening. Maybe they just need an ear to listen, or a sounding board just for them to understand. The biggest part of depression is thinking that you're alone and that you're the only person fighting this battle. Well, sometimes all you have to do is turn around and see the massive amount of friends that you have that are there, that are always willing to help you, so you're never alone. But maybe you just need to reach out a helping hand every once in a while and just be like, hey, you know what? If you need me, I'm still here. So compassion for me is just to let your fellow man know that they are vulnerable, but you're there to help put the pieces back together if they fall apart.
If someone wanted to become a Buddhist, how would they go about becoming a Buddhist?
I think that I got the easy way out. Growing up with a Vietnamese family, and they actually had a monk that came to their house from Texas once or twice a month to talk to us and teach us practices. It is a way you can look for centers, you can read about it online, you can ask anybody. There's tons of blogs and websites out there that you can talk to other Buddhists about practices or philosophies that you need to do. But the easiest things are just start living in the moment. Stop trying to schedule your whole entire life and stop trying to live. Money does control everything, and it's the root of everything in our world. But for a little piece of paper to control everything of what you are and who you are and how you see yourself and where you see yourself in society, if you start to look at yourself and what you actually have to have in your life to survive and the things that you need to function with in your life, is a very good start to practice of what you need. Because you have to sleep, you have to eat, and you have to breathe. But other than those things, everything else is kind of just a gimme, and you take what you can get or you work for what you want. But wants are one thing and needs are something that you have to have.
How did the doors to shamanism open for you?
Shamanism started with me when I came up here to Dunedin. I walked into Enchanted Earth and walked through the shop, and one of the patrons that worked there asked me, just out of a whim, if I ever wanted to know about all the animals in my life, just come back and talk to her. And at this point, I was always a skeptic, but my wife started leading me down the path of just being more open to what her religion was. I just kind of sloughed it off, walked out the back, and I talked to the owner about some things that I needed to discuss about a business venture, and then I walked back through the shop, and I went on my merry way. The shop owner told me to come back in a couple of weeks so we could finish our discussion, so I came back, and the same girl was there, and she said that we never had our talk, so she told the shop owner that we needed to take an hour, and we were going to go sit out back, and she enlightened me to animal medicine or animal speak. And that is kind of where I have been going since then. And it was enlightening myself to Native American medicine, and the teachings of my interactions with animals is not just, I just took it as a coincidence that I thought everybody could hold animals and not many things would happen to them. Or if something bit them, maybe they were just a bad person, but not because the dog was just frustrated with the things that were going on in the home. So I just took things more as coincidence instead of actually being fact that, no, I actually do have gifts. I don't like to look at myself as being someone special, but I guess at the end of the day, maybe I am a little bit.
This is Tony Valen, host of Healing from Within. You can contact me, Tony at TonyValen.com, or visit our website, healingfromwithin.net. Follow the show on Twitter at TVHFW. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen, or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. We are talking to our guest, Joe Merlin. Joe is an intuitive empath, spiritual counselor, tarot and oracle card reader, animal medicine, and shaman. You can learn more about Joe by going to EnchantedEarth.Dunedin.com. Enchanted Earth is located at 733 Main Street, Dunedin, Florida. You can contact them by phone at 727-216-6594. Like Enchanted Earth on Facebook and follow Enchanted Earth on Twitter. Joe, let's talk about animal medicine. What can you tell us about animal medicine?
There are different forms of animal medicine, and it's not animal medicine as in that I'm a veterinarian and I go to your house and prescribe medicine for your animals. Animal medicine is, one part of it is looking at your life, and you describing or telling me what animals show up in your life, because animals all mean certain things. And you tell me what they are, or, hey, I see this animal every day. I don't understand why. It's just there. Well, that animal's not indigenous to Florida, and that animal also represents this in a daily life to help them figure out things that are going on. Animal medicine also goes around looking or doing readings or seeing what other animals, spirit animals or totem animals, follow them or walk with them on a daily life to get an insight to who they are or who the person is. And the other part of animal medicine is actually being able to look at animals or be in the presence of animals and get the sensations or feelings, thoughts or emotions, or have clear cognitive communication between one being to another. Some people think it's kooky, but when you tell them the things that are happening in amongst their home or the things that are happening in their life, they take a step back for a minute and usually have to breathe a little bit heavy, and then they are ready to go back to having the discussion because maybe there was something in their family that they didn't want everybody to know about, but they need to address. The animals give a different perspective because we're at a higher level from them, and we see what is in our perspective. But animals are on a lower level and read the world through their heart and through emotion, and they have a different perspective of things. We as analytical humans, we think everything through, or at least try to think everything through. But animals, they lead through emotion or through their gut of what they actually have to have. So it gives us a better perspective in our lives, in our world, in our surrounding environment of what has to happen or what needs to happen to make a positive change.
Do you communicate with animals on a psychic level?
On a psychic level, we all have totem animals. We all have power animals. We all have animals that we work with on a regular basis. So, yes, I would say that we do. And everybody has some sort of, for what you would say would be an intuition. But if you see an animal and you get the overwhelming thoughts or feelings or emotions, then you're having a conversation with an animal, or an animal is trying to send something or send a message back to you. But as human beings, or for what society says, that's not real. So it makes it very difficult for people in an analytical brain to justify that I'm having a conversation with an animal. But when you go home at the end of the day, your dogs and your cats are your therapists because you tell them all of your problems and all of your hates and worries and pains and suffering in your day. Because no matter how much or how flawed you think you are, your dogs and your cats still love you for the person that you are because they know who you really are and what you're really trying to do for them.
And that's what makes them so wonderful. It's that unconditional love that they have. Do you have to be in the presence of the animal? Like, for example, if someone calls you at the store and wants to talk to you about an issue they're having with their cat or their dog, are you able to tap into that and explain to them what's going on, or do they have to be in person?
Animals are easier in person. It's not something that transmits well over a phone. I have tried it a couple times with success, but I have also gone to their house afterwards because I'm like, I have thought something to myself, and also I'm a human, so I have flaws, so I'm my own worst critic. But just thinking about it, I always feel like I'm missing something. There's something that I'm not picking up on. And I go, and you can be in person with the dog, the cat, the snake, and sit there for a minute, and then you get the whole story. You get the understanding, because it's hard to emote feelings through a phone. You can't see what's happening or feel what's happening sometimes through a phone line. So for animals, it's better to be in their presence. For people, you can generate a good connection over a phone line.
Can you help someone with pet that may have a behavioral problem or some type of issue? Is that what your specialty is?
It's not a specialty, but yes, I can help with that. It's a good way to open up things, but when you look at why the animal's acting out, it's usually things that are going on in your life, and it's like they're trying to parent you, and they're trying to correct your wrong behaviors. Mm-hmm. So they lash out and they do things to try to draw your attention from whatever your vice is or whatever they see you making mistakes with. So they see you, maybe you have COPD and you're going for that next cigarette. So they lash out and break something in your house. Oh. Or maybe you are a person that suffers from severe depression and you're having a bad day. Well, it's a dog, and they can sense heart rate changes, and they can sense blood pressure changes. So they can tell that you're having a really bad day, so they get all angsty and start bouncing around the house and being playful. For you, because you're in a depressed state, it's kind of a pain in the butt moment. But for them, they're trying to get you up, get you moving, get things happening, because the more your blood flows, the more your endorphins are built, and then you'll start to be happy again. Granted, it's not a permanent fix, but maybe they can help you for that moment. So for a lot of things that we think, wow, my animal's being bad, this is wrong. Well, maybe we need to look at ourselves and see what we're doing and live our lives a little bit differently, or learn how to play a little more, because we start to grow up too much. Our animals act out a lot, then maybe we need to reevaluate our own situations.
Wow, that's wonderful. I never really thought of that. That makes sense.
Yeah, our pets are, like I said earlier, our cats and dogs know all of our deepest, innermost secrets, and they know everything because we tell them everything, because they don't judge us for it. But they know what makes us tick. They know what makes us happy. Yes, they're a four-legged, fuzzy creature that lives on the ground, and they need us to survive, at least what we think they need us to survive. They're there as a family unit, and they complete it. If they weren't there, you would feel a very large hole in your life, or a longing for something else to have companionship with, or a therapist, or somebody just to be there, just to, at the end of the day when you come home. So show your pets the same respect that you want, and your lives change dramatically, and your relationship with your pet change dramatically.
Yeah, I agree. When people have called you about the different help they need, can you tell us the difference, or give us some of the issues that cats may have in comparison to issues that dogs may have?
Cats are more on the terms of you have a yin and yang between a cat and a dog. Cats they will show you what you don't really need in your life. Cats have a tendency to, male cats especially, will mark and spray on things. And then if you have a cat, even though if it's been neutered or fixed, and it will keep spraying in your house, usually you're living far beyond your means. You're trying to impress society or other people around you, and the cat is trying to let you know that you basically need a couch and a love seat, and it doesn't have to be the best, highest grade leather from a designer store. You could have something from a thrift shop and still be just as happy. you can take your means down a little bit and live a little bit more inside of your needs and wants. Cats also make us question a lot of things because they like to break stuff. They like to go in different areas where they're especially not allowed, or get up on things and break things.
Yeah.
Human beings, we put possessions on stuff. I have to have this. This is my favorite possession. I needed this in my life. And more than likely, your cat's going to break it, even though you put it up on the highest mantle in your house that you don't think they can get to. But as soon as you go to work, you come home and it's in a million pieces on the floor. We're humans. We can't possess anything. We have it in our existence because we purchased it. But at any moment, that same item can leave our life, whether it be stolen, it be broken, whether you gift it to another person, it can still leave. It's just like a human being. It can come in our life and it can leave our life. So watch what your attachment values are to items and to people, and watch what you're holding on to, and watch what you put confidence in. If you have to buy a lot of things to have a lot of confidence in your cat sharpening their claws on all of it and destroying it, maybe you have more confidence on the inside of you than what you really think or what you understand of yourself. So maybe ask your friends of what they see in you and see what their vision is of it, and then ask your cat what he sees in it, and see what they come up with.
Very interesting.
Dogs are probably one of the more compassionate creatures on this earth. They love everyone unconditionally. But if there's a dog that lashes out and a dog that's mean to an owner, maybe that owner is being mean to other people in their life. Maybe they're very standoffish person at home, but when they go out into their work life, they're a very demanding, very ruthless boss, or they have a very it's my way or the highway demeanor, and they're a very mean person when they're out in public towards other people. Dog will, when the human comes home, the dog may lash out or growl at them or bite them. Maybe you need to keep your home life in perspective with your work life or your public life. Everybody has a public persona, and they always have a private persona, and usually never the two are the same, unless the person is more conscious of who they are. Because when we go out in the public, we're not going to see the things that we say in our home because we don't want people to judge us, or we don't want people to think less of us. So we curtail the ways that we act. My inner child runs my life. So I'm a silly person at home, and I'm a silly person out in the world because I never know when my day will come. And I've learned that from a dog, is that you can play. Play as long as you can and play for the rest of your life, because you never know when that life will end. So don't take this day for granted. Maybe you are having a bad day and you have to take a nap. But get up and do something when you're done with your nap. Try just to even go on an adventure, do something different. Live outside your normal self and challenge your perspective of how you see yourself in the world, or maybe go do something that you wouldn't normally do. A dog that comes into your house and a dog that starts to mark on things, or a dog that constantly urinates in the home, wants you to do more. They want you to be out more. If you start taking your dog for walks, your dog's going to go potty outside. And, of course, you're outside. So you're on an adventure with the person that you hold the most highest regard for, or that you have a lot of a love or affinity for. They believe that they're helping you because they have you out in the world. They have you talking to new people. They have you doing new things. They have you living outside your box, because maybe you're a city person, but for them to go potty, they have to go out the woody side of this walk that you guys go on. So maybe you experience a new animal, or you see something out of the ordinary, and it piques your interest to look at new things. So that sparks new adventures and other things in your life to start to change. So our pets play a huge role in our lives of what we deem acceptable. And if people actually paid more attention to their pets, it would change their whole experience of how they live their lives. Or if they think they're living their lives, look at what their pets are trying to make, or look at what their pets are forcing them to do, and maybe their pets are really forcing them to live their lives.
To live more authentically. So what's next for Joe? What are your plans for the future?
I have really, because of suffering from depression, I have come more forward with who I was in the past and where I've been, and gone more into my spiritual counseling and helping others and letting them know that they're not alone. I have started working more closely with shamanism. I have a large collection of gifted items that I use in amongst healings with helping people get over strifes and worries in their lives. I have started working more closely with crystals and stones in gifting some others in our lives with some stones to help them further their practices and their teachings. So I look forward to always be learning and never question anything that comes my way or comes across my path. I want to have new experiences, and I want to go on new adventures.
That's wonderful. Well, Joe, I want to thank you so much for being on the show with us and letting us into your world and letting us know a little more about animal communication and shamanism and Buddhism.
Thank you so very much, Tony. Like I said earlier, I'm not the greatest Buddhist practitioner in the world, but as long as you can get some things from it and it helps you in your life, go for it. It's an amazing experience.
Wonderful. Thank you. Our thanks to Joe Merlin. Joe is an intuitive empath, spiritual counselor, tarot and oracle card reader. He's in animal medicine and he's a shaman. You can learn more about Joe by going to EnchantedEarthDunedin.com. Enchanted Earth is located at 733 Main Street, Dunedin, Florida. You can contact them by telephone 727-216-6594. Like Enchanted Earth on Facebook and follow Enchanted Earth on Twitter. You are listening to Healing from Within with Tony Valen here on Blog Talk Radio, airing Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. Visit our website, healingfromwithin.net, or contact me directly, tony@tonyvalen.com. Please follow the show on Twitter, @TV as in Victor, HF as in Frank, W. The show is also available on iTunes and YouTube. Just search Healing from Within with Tony Valen or look for the Tony Valen channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, and love and light from all of us here at Healing from Within.